Wrath, which is by David Simonetti. I don't know if David is here. Is David here? Somebody said he didn't make it. But this is a film about a short documentary detailing 3 major storms that caused devastation on the East Coast, beginning with Hurricane Irene, the freak October snowstorm of 2011, and Superstorm Sandy. The story is told from the point of view of the mayor of a North Jersey town, Woodland Park, how the dilemma was dealt with, and the hope and resilience of New Jersey as a people-owned state.
I can't believe I would never thought in a million years that this would happen here. Never homeless.
Anyone who says there's not a dramatic change in weather patterns, I think is denying reality.
We're a small community. Everybody knows someone that was affected by Hurricane. People were just devastated. They were beaten down. And this is not the first storm. I mean, you have to go back to April of 2007. And the frequency of flood events within our municipality and throughout the Passaic River Basin since April of 2007, it's like in the last 6 years we've had 5 floods. The October snowstorm, the timing could not have been worse because we were still recovering from the effects of Hurricane Irene and the flooding that followed. Residents were still recovering. The weight of the branches with the leaves combined with the snow is what caused so many trees to come down, so many branches to come down. I will tell you that last year I was not the mayor, but I was a member of the Office of Emergency Management. I was a candidate for mayor. So a lot of what was happening both during Hurricane Irene and during the freak October snowstorm, as it's come to be known, I spent a lot of time observing what was happening.
Then we'll be just fine. And so we will get up and we'll get this thing rebuilt and we'll put things back together because that's what this state is all about and always has been all about.
When you see neighbors helping neighbors, then you're reminded about what America's all about. And we go through tough times, but we bounce back. And the reason we bounce back is because we look out for one another.
Powerful film. Somebody close the door back there. Thank you. Next one we have is called Seabright Rise. Sean Moran. And anybody, Brian, Deacon Bellis, he couldn't be here. But this is a film about Superstorm Sandy. Let's get started.
We came down to the foot of the bridge and I saw the ocean just running like a 6-foot wall from the ocean all the way across Ocean Avenue, all the way down into the river. And I took one look at it and I knew we couldn't do it, you know, if there was a rescue needed, we couldn't get any further.
I came over the bridge, Lee Murphy picked me up in an all-terrain vehicle, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, it really looked like a scene out of the apocalypse.
To see what I had taken pictures of before and what they had turned into after the storm. It's hard to believe that it happened here in our town.
There are those of us who grew up here in Seabright, where our parents and our grandparents lived here, and I'm one of those people. My family's been here since 1890. The town has always been diverse. I remember my grandfather telling me stories about the Norwegian fishermen coming, the Swedish Norwegian fishermen bringing their boats in. So they had ice houses, they had a salt house, and you could go get your fish fresh off the boat. Here.
New Jersey National Guard some time. Rich is doing a lot of the prep work. He's been instrumental in spearheading this food effort, making sure things are done correctly. It's awesome.
And we serve through dinner. We go in here until 10 o'clock at night.
They just took over the firehouse, some women from Rumson, and just started cooking, and it's an amazing effort out there. The Army came in, set up tents, and fed everybody, and the food is delicious, I have to tell you. Unfortunately, I was left homeless by the storm, so I've been coming over here to eat as well with my family. And just everybody's been so wonderful. They can't do enough for you. You know, you walk in to get food from the food line, some woman sees you cold, shivering hands, they're running to get you a pair of gloves, they don't even know you, you know, it's just overwhelming.
Buildings destroyed, we've had houses back in the 60s knocked into the ocean. It comes back. It'll come back. Oh yeah, it'll come back better next time because there'll be, you know, new building and so you'll see a bigger, better Seabright.
One of the things that sets Seabright apart, at least in my mind, is that we have a concrete plan for how to rebuild this town. And so what we're looking at is taking it section by section and literally looking to mitigate the hazards from floodwater, from hurricane events and things like this, so that we will be able to rebuild it. We may not be able to rebuild it with the same density, but we're going to rebuild it smarter.
And of course, this is his wife and all his co-producers.
Four co-producers.
You want to tell them a little bit about
Prior to this, I had not been involved in a film, but I live in Rumson and I go to the bridge from Seabright. And my wife and I found a way to get involved in the National Guard, stopping anybody from going into Seabright. The first 5 days, you weren't allowed to go in. There were power lines, gas lines. Any residents of Seabright couldn't go in. But someone who had been over there working with the National Guard told me it was devastating. So I wanted to see it because I knew a lot of people over there. Funny enough, I work at MTV and VH1 and work with companies like Coke and others. So I thought the National Guard needed Red Bull. So I had the Red Bull company send them a crate of about 100 cases, and I became like a rum runner. That was my way to get into Seabright. I have 2 cases of Red Bull, and the cops would go, let them through, let them through. So I got over there to see what it was, and then something just hit me that, wow, this is, you know, a town of 1,800 people, not one habitable residence. A town of 50 businesses, not one functioning business. And I know those were stories up and down the coast, but it was the story that I knew, and I just wanted to get it out there. So I called my friend Brian DiCabellis, who had worked with me as a filmmaker at MTV, and I said, would you do me a favor to come down here? And it's funny, you saw an older gentleman in the film, by the name of Callahan, had an old cap on. That was his cap from World War I, or his father's cap from World War I. And I was waiting in a parking lot in Fairhaven for my buddy filmmaker and his sound guy to come, and I see this guy get out of his car, and I say, I'm waiting to buy my car. I say, how are you? He goes, that was some storm, huh? Can we talk? And I went over there and was talking to him. This guy started telling me stories. It was serendipitous because he started remembering how the beach wall was made along Seabright from rocks that came from the Holland Tunnel, and started telling me stories about the whole history. And I was just trying to keep him going until that car pulled up with my buddy. And I said, get the camera going, let's get over here. He was an amazing spirit of Seabright. He lived through the hurricane of 54 and 38, and he just knew all the stories. And I felt that resiliency. I said, man, let's go to Seabright, let's hear these stories. That was all shot in one day. That was just from sun up to sundown. We felt people, we felt the story. You saw the woman Nefertiti. She remembered how diversity was big in Seabright, how there were a lot of African Americans in the town, and one of the first African American women to own a business owned the Esso station in Seabright back in the 60s. So much was coming out. And Chris Wood, who you may have seen on the news at times, Woody, He was the one when there was nothing going on, simply got out of Woody's, brought a grill outside, started cooking burgers for whoever's around. After about 2 days, the people said, you can't do this, there's regulations, this and that. Well, Governor Christie happened to be passing through. He said, wait a second, what are you doing? He goes, not only can he do it, I want the National Guard to get tents down here. And he became like the creator of feeding those 2,000 people every day. Wherever you came from, he would feed you. And the head of the National Guard said, this thing's staying until there's no one else to feed. So it's just a story of resiliency. My wife's from Spring Lake. She is New Jersey born and bred. I'm glad I'm part of this state because I saw it right up there. That's what you guys are about, and I guess that's now what my 4 boys are about. So proud to be a part of it.
Hurricane Sandy. Is that hat key here? I don't. Okay. Good. When Hurricane Sandy hit in October of 2012, my parents' house was damaged along with so many others of Long Beach Island, New Jersey. Our community of family, friends, and neighbors banded together to help fix 1806. This film is for that.
Fox News alert to begin happening now on Hurricane Sandy. That storm already slamming Cuba. Now we have brand new tracking, which shows where this massive system might be headed next. And it is not good news for those who live in the northeastern United States.
This is the view on Storm Tracker 6-3D. Everybody's been warned. It is time to hunker down. Hurricane Sandy is moving ever closer now.
From what authorities are calling a catastrophic event.
And Sandy is not only expected to hit here, but to hit here hard.
We have just in the first new satellite images showing how hard parts of the Jersey Shore got hit. Normandy Beach, not far from Seaside in New Jersey, orderly rows of houses simply erased. This is Maniloking, New Jersey, which went from a perfect beachfront peninsula to having a new inlet from the ocean to the bay. The homes that were there along that stretch of beach now largely gone.
Ongoing recovery efforts after Hurricane Sandy. But as the recovery progressed, so did the needs.
Still saw my backs on the fringes. We tore up the walls. We slept on couches. We lifted this house. We lifted this house. Parks out your hands on my cheeks, your shoulder in my mouth. There's a name we rattle this town.
What really impressed me was how many people were there to help out. They just kind of made a party out of it. Said, look, we're in this tough situation. We really got to make the best of it and band together to get this job finished.
It was kind of meaningful and special.
Being able to help on LBI was actually a really cathartic way to be active.
This was a perfect opportunity for me to help. I wanted to help them because I love them so much.
Being in their house was really something special because you could feel that it was, it had been in their family for a while and that it was, kind of a meaningful place for them and their friends to gather.
I'm so proud of you.
That's what it's about, family, friends, and community. Oz, would you come forward, please?
You understand?
Well, at the time, I was actually in grad school at Moore College of Fine Arts when Sandy hit, and so my parents were displaced. We were all without power, waiting till we could go back on the island. And we get there, you need to take pictures for insurance, take pictures. And we all brought cameras, we're all taking pictures. I was like, oh my gosh, we need to make sure that we remember this. And then as we're working, we're tearing up the house, we realize, oh, this is so much more than we can handle. So that's when we start calling the favors. Hey, remember when you came down and you stayed that really long weekend? Hey, remember that time you came down and you didn't bring all that beer that you said you were going to bring? Remember that time you came down and you kicked the hole in the screen door and we never mentioned it again? Well, come on back! And we were totally shocked by how many people came down for a cold weekend in November. We had people come down in the morning, come down that night, come down the next day. There was no place for them to stay. So they went home and came back. And it was just that outpouring of support of all the people that came to help us. And so as we were there, I kept, the insurance photos, yeah, they were there. But then it was like, oh, we've got to remember this. So it became just capturing what I could in between pulling up floors and taking out nails. When I would get tired, like, oh, I need to film some footage. And then in the end decided this is a celebration for them. So I spent the rest of the year putting together the film, and then this past Memorial Day, we had all the same people back down at the house for Memorial Day. It was up and running, my parents were back in full time again. And the premiere was we actually projected the film on the front of the house. So everybody sat on the screen, and we watched it in the same spot we did have our dinners those nights when we didn't have power. So it was a really neat, culminating event that came full circle. So it was very fun.
Okay, now we're going to move on to the films from local Cape May producers. And this first one is called Clean Water.
Surf, kiteboard, fish, stand-up paddle, sail, body surf, you name it. Pretty much like to do everything in, around, and on the ocean.
Just always love being around the water, listening to the waves, and it's just a calming thing for me. This is home for me, and I can remember when I was 5 years old down on that rock pile, and it's changed a lot. It used to be deeper on the other side, and fishing that was one of the best rock piles around. It's a great place to grow up. Great.
Day though, at 7, 8 years old, I'd leave the house in the morning in the summertime with a boogie board or with at least little styrofoam surfboards back then. Wouldn't come back till like 5 at night. Different times now, I guess. You'd have to have more parental guidance, but that was then. I did the beach all day long in the summertime.
Well, I think from an early age, growing up around here, it just kind of becomes part of who you are, and you just gravitate to the beach. You want to learn how to surf and swim and body surf and do all that stuff.
One message to our group of campers throughout the summer. Actually, one thing we do try to do is we try to make sure that they are properly educated on their connectedness to the environment.
Connection to something bigger and have that positively impact in a sustainable way how we live on land, I think helps the ocean and helps ourselves.
Come on up. Back up.
So, hi, I'm Mike. I live here. That's why we have so many shots of Cape May. And this issue, originally I was just going to do a short, maybe 2-minute piece on it. But every person that I talked to was so enthusiastic that it became that long. So, I think what that speaks to is how many people are passionate about what makes this area really special, and that's the environment that we're surrounded by. So, it's, not to be preachy or anything, but I think there's a lot of things that we can do as individuals to keep it pristine. And that's kind of what I was hoping to touch on here, and I think I did that, so.
Two films are very special. First off, because one of them is mine, and my friend Claire, stand up Claire. And the other one, I've worked with the producer of that one. So this next one is called Run Claire Run, a Cape May legend.
anything except that I did want to stop smoking, so I stopped smoking. And within like 3 months, you know, I started to, in lieu of smoking, I started to eat, as most people do. We started doing something crazy like that. I wasn't happy with myself because I was starting to put weight on, and I've had a weight issue all my life anyway, so made it worse. So I picked up Mother Earth magazine one day, and in it there was a big article on how to start jogging and running, and it was a whole new, I never gave thought to it in my life. And I saw it and I thought, no, I'm going to do this. Well, I thank everybody for coming and all the support I have. And I'll tell you what, I hear about inspiration, and that's what I hope to create, inspiration, because I get inspired by feedback from everybody else. And sometimes I go, oh, can't let them down either, you know? So it's all about inspiration. It's not just really about me. It's about everybody just coming out from themselves and just doing what you can do, you know, and be the best, and don't give up. It's sticking with it, you know. It's not walking away when things get tough, because there's a lot of days I don't want to go out, you know. I gotta go out, and it does. It makes you feel better. It's a physical, but it's your soul, your spirit, and your mind. It's that as much as anything. So, you know, but you guys inspire me. So this is a story, you know, but he did it, so, you know, that's right.
I have a question. I thought you said hi, Bill.
I have a question.
Thank you.
Yes. When I
see you running. Are you in that running, they talk about that running thing? Because I think I could beat the horn, scream your name, and you wouldn't even know that I was there.
It comes and goes. It comes and goes. Yeah.
Like his actor, Ali Casablanca. Stand up, Ali. This is a beautiful music video. Check it out.
Giving away all your things ain't really hard. Maybe just for a minute, but then they're gone. They just feel so good lying low. Makes me wonder about what I mean by home. 'Cause home ain't the money that pays for the blankets. And home ain't the electric that cooks the food. And home ain't the windows that look out onto the yard. It ain't the TV, and it ain't the car. 'Cause who wants to sit in the middle of four bare walls when you can sit outside with the trees and the floor and the stars and the birds? It's like only a Mona Lisa that no one can steal. It's like a fantasy, only it's real. So what is home? I guess it's hard to say. It must be the way that I'm feeling here today. 'Cause I don't have a lot of doubts about who I am. And I got a lot of patience for my fellow man. Little flower of the breeze, death is no parentheses.
Ali Casablanca.
Hi everybody, thank you for coming. As you see the movie, the title is Ali Casablanca. Ali, it's me, Casablanca. It's a town in Morocco, but the title is coming from hopefully Bugar with the animal. So in 1842. So it's we got the movie because after they have it's like Casablanca when you have hey guy, he's talking with the girl in the bar, So the movie it's made by as you see by Vincent Gordon. So he wrote the movie. He's bought music. So I don't know about his music, but what I know his voice is so warm, and he's a musician, and he's the best one in. Thank you, Greg.
The Cape May Historical Society, Cape May County Historical Film. And it's a 10-minute film about the history of Cape May County from after the Revolutionary War to pre-Civil War.
Saw a repeat of experiences from the Revolutionary War. There were watches along the coastline and Delaware Bay for British marauders who were once again looking to destroy salt works seaports, and other installations on U.S. soil. The county's salt works, so vital during the Revolution, had been quiet in the years. Delaware Bay privateers, many manned by Cape May officers and crew, were again busy harassing and seizing British vessels.
Here? I didn't think so. Thank you all very much for coming.